one of the things I would say is, just, it's first of all, it's great that you already are doing this, and I would just encourage you to do whatever you can to, you know, all those resources are there, find ways to make them sustainable in the long term, whether that's a revolving loan fund. But I mean, my emphasis, my point here is not so much on the project financing, but on the capacity, the human resource that goes behind this. And following up on my other point, is if there isn't somebody out there advocating for this, it's just not going to happen. I mean, yes, when we hit a tipping point, hopefully we'll be able to just integrate it into all of our institutions. But until then, it's going to be a matter of hitting the pavement. And so do what you can now to make sure that there's some sort of sustainable funding for this, to allow for sustainable human capacity. The other point I'll make, at the risk of sounding naive, is there's a lot of money from utilities out there, and there's more and more money from utilities all the time. This year, it's almost $6 billion in utility energy efficiency programs around the country annually. So I mean, the Better Buildings Initiative is $4 billion total. I mean, it may grow, and there's some really important work happening there. That's over a couple of years, and from utilities, $6 billion annually, and some people have projected it will grow up to $12 billion by 2020. I know there are lots and lots of barriers to working with utilities, but it's worth it to keep trying. A lot of them are being pushed, and this varies a lot by state, but a lot of them are being pushed to hit higher and higher energy savings targets, and they're getting more and more interested in innovation. A lot of them are not at that point yet, but if you live in a community where that's beginning to happen, keeping a part of that conversation, it's really important, and there's a lot of money out there that can do some really good work in your communities.
Okay. Karen?
First, I just have to say, BOA does not support mandates of any type. That's probably not a big surprise to anybody. But we do think voluntary incentives and voluntary incentive programs such as Energy Star Portfolio Manager are really good programs that are working. I think the best thing to happen was in February when President Obama announced the Better Buildings Initiative. I think having the White House support of that type of a program that looks at so many different aspects of this energy efficiency puzzle and really putting it on a national scale will go a long way. I think the next step we have to get to is to be able to go into a Republican's office in Congress and say that and not have them roll their eyes, and then we'll actually get to the point where we can work collectively to pass policies that maybe aren't mandates, but are good incentive programs to help drive efficiency. The other type of competition program that BOA has been very supportive of that has worked, that hasn't gotten a lot of attention, is we've been partnering with EPA, Energy Star, and the local associations in doing local competitions called kilowatt crackdowns. And that's just based on Energy Star and driving and benchmarking and then improving your Energy Star rating over your benchmark. And just things like that. It's very simple ideas. They're not difficult to execute. We'd like to see more and more cities just do some of these very basic things that can go a long way to helping efficiency and helping people understand the benefits.
A lot of the chapters have had trouble getting a bunch of buildings into Energy Star, so BOA would be an ally with them.
Absolutely.
That's actually very useful.
Mark, let's talk about a bit of free advice. Something encouraging, a bit of free advice, and then free advice.
I'm talking about what we find in construction. What we find right now is that these certified green buildings do not necessarily mean new construction. And we're talking about the Empire State Building. They spent money to upgrade the Empire State Building. They got a 38% energy savings, $4.4 billion a year. So in 3 years, it's going to pay for itself. So what we're doing here, it works. It works. Continue.
That's the advice.
Continue.
All right.
I think maybe the most exciting thing I've seen happening has been what's going on at the state level. And maybe that's the only silver lining to congressional stalemate is creative people figure out how to get it done without that help. Whether it's what you just heard about in Atlanta, Seattle, Denver, all the cities that are part of the Better Buildings Challenge. Also what's going on in Charlotte with Envision Charlotte, which doesn't involve the government at all. Everything that New York City has just done, which is really groundbreaking in their integrated buildings plan. And then behind all that, you have these networks like this one and like the C40 initiative with Mayor Bloomberg and President Clinton. There's so many of these folks ready to pour gasoline on these fires, and that's, I think, a very positive thing to take away from the last year.
Nice image, pouring gasoline on fires.
Yeah.